I'm thinking I'm gonna do a career, serve my country. It'll be good. At least I could just get away and travel and see the world. So my first month in basic training, we do what soldiers do. Soldiers run. So we running. I'm in Fort Jackson, but so happened this day it was kind of cool, but not cold. But it rained real bad and it got cold. And so we kept on running like soldiers do. You don't stop running while if it rains, you don't stop. So 8 of us caught pneumonia in my platoon. So unknowns to me and unknowns to the United States Army, that pneumonia weakened my immune system enough and triggered the lupus I had. It made it active. So for the next 3 years, I'm going through the military. I'm sick. It's like think of a wildfire raging through a forest and nobody puts water on it. They didn't know what was wrong. They actually thought I was pretending and faking because I was in such good shape. They were like, well, how this guy can't do a push-up? Or it was times I couldn't even open my hands. And I went to sick call. They was writing me Article 15s. They gave me blanket parties because other soldiers would get punished for what I couldn't do. But when I was in Korea, my first duty station at the AIT and basic, a doctor saw something wrong with my blood. And he didn't even know what it was, but he saw something was drastically wrong with my blood, and he shipped me to Walter Reed. And by the time I got to Walter Reed, I was so sick that they hospitalized me for a whole year. And during that year, they called my mother and father 3 times because I flatlined basically and almost died 3 times while in the hospital that year. So they got me through that point, but the lupus was so bad that it ran through my entire body. They gave me 5 to 7 years to live. I was 20 years old. I went in when I was 17.
What year did you enter the Army?
1992.
So 92.
And 95 is when they got me stable, so I went into a medical board and I got discharged in 97. Yeah, and
for the people who don't know military terms, explain what an Article 15 is.
Oh, Article 15 is a disciplinary action they put on you where they might take your money, confirm you the extra duty, and I had like 4 or 5 of these throughout the time, that I was in the Army. Because the thing was, I just couldn't do push-up. I couldn't run every time because I couldn't run because even in basic, they did an operation called a pleural effusion, where they take a thing and they stab you through your chest to your lung. And because I couldn't breathe, my lungs filled up with fluid all the time throughout this time period. And I had like 3 of those. And so running I couldn't even sleep on my back. I had to sleep sitting up like this in a corner in the barracks in my chair. I never slept on my back from basic after having pneumonia all the way to Walter Reed. I couldn't sleep on my back still. And so that's basically I'm not even bitter about the military because the military is nowhere for sick people. I didn't know, my family didn't know, nobody knew. But I went through literally after all the stuff going on. Now here comes 3 years of mental distress. Now that water is pitch black that I went through. That glass of water that was half fountain, that had the ink in it, now it's getting pitch black. So I get out the military and all this, I don't have no therapy for this incident. No, so all this stuff is going on in my life. And this is what the theory of balance, that book is about. Because after that, life goes on. We'll go to, what was that, 2000, hold on, is that even 2000? 2010 maybe, if I'm getting the dates right. After all these things that have happened, I'm a hurt individual. Hurt people, that's the saying. And so my behavior and everything is just erratic. I don't care about it. I developed bipolar. Didn't even know I had bipolar until after I had basically my life came to a total car crash and I had to do a year in a renewal center. Basically, I was sentenced to a year of mental health therapy. By that time, I just didn't care about anything. I didn't, my thought patterns was off and all kind of things was happening. As a result of things keep piling on. Of course, there's accountability in that. Everybody has accountability for their choices. But these are the things that actually affected the choices that I was making, until that time. But when I got into the renewal center, that was like the worst time in my life, but also the best time in my life because everything had stopped. It was the first time in my life I was able to sit down and look at what had happened until that point. And this is very important Because many kids, many adults, many children, many people out here are experiencing so many dramatic events, and they're just, especially in urban areas, they experience all these dramatic events, and they're just running through life trying to survive from one event to the next event to the next event without even realizing the damage that it has done on their lives, and that they actually need some serious help or help to resolve these issues. So when I got sentenced by Judge Durkin in the renewal center, she sentenced me to, I think it was 3 sessions a week I had to go to.
Where were you living at this time?
I was living in, where was I living? On the north side.
So this is all in Pittsburgh now?
Yeah, this is all this in Pittsburgh. All this in Pittsburgh. And, because what happened, I came to Pittsburgh in 99 after living in D.C. I forgot all about the chaplain in D.C., but same thing, a lot of dramatic events in D.C. happened in D.C. and things like that. And these are all an open book. I share it all with the world. I have no shame with any of this because today I'm alive. Absolutely. I survived all this. You know, and I have a good house, good family, you know, helping people, trying to better the community and all that. So I'm ashamed of nothing, and I'm writing it down. So there's a lot of people who are suffering out here going through the same thing can benefit from this book. So when living on the north side in D.C., you know, I was with my first child mother at the time. So when I got locked up, you know, I'm sitting there in the jail cell, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, the first group I went to, they had us do an exercise called a timeline of illness. And you had to list every dramatic thing that happened to you in your life. And like, as I was listing all these things that happened, you know, that's when I realized the totality of what took place or what happened and how when they diagnosed me, then I realized I've been had bipolar. I've been had suffering from mental illness through the military, from my mom being shot, all kind of stuff. You know, so I took it upon myself. They only required me to do 3 group sessions, but I took it. I had like 6 hours of therapy a week or 8. I had to see a psychiatrist once a month. So I signed up for every kind of NA meetings. I joined the Howard Levin Clubhouse for mental health. I would go there. So basically, my total hours of therapy a week was like almost 30 hours a week. I was going and doing something related to mental health or related to bettering myself. I figured if the renewal has my body and I'm locked up for that year, I'm going to make this year work to my advantage. It's not going to be a year of my life wasted like I've seen so many other people just wasting the time, just taking it as a joke or just going through life doing what they barely had to do to get through. I didn't want to be that person that I looked at in the past. When they had me do that history of mental illness, I didn't want to be that person no more. You know, I didn't want to, because my actions were hurting even other people. I got to see the consequences of my actions. Yeah, I was hurt, but that doesn't give me the right to hurt other people. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was poisoning and anything good in my life, I was sabotaging it because I was used to so much pain, so much hurt, so much anger. Feeling good didn't feel natural to me. So I would sabotage anything good or anything positive that was happening in my life, I would sabotage it. But at the renewal centers where I had the time to sit back and really dig into and try to figure out my life, and that was born this book, The Theory of Balance. Like I said earlier, I prayed every day, 2 or 3 times a day for God to help me, and He revealed that to me in a dream. You know, that I had to break myself down. It was so bad that I had to break myself down to parts, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and I had to really take like Michael Jackson's song, Looking at the Man in the Mirror, I had to really take a deep look at what was wrong with me, my ill behavior, you know, because everything wasn't the mental illness. Some of it was the choices that I was making, you know, the behaviors that I was doing. You know, some things are your circumstances, some things are your choices in life. So I had to hold myself accountable for where I was at. I had a choice to make. I could keep on living the way I was living, or I could do something about it and fight. You know, and that's how my parents raised me, to fight, to work hard, to fight for what you believe in. And so I had to, like, you know, kind of draw energy from my parents, my ancestors, and my family as a whole to get through that. And that's what I did. And I came out a much better man. That was the start of me on my path to healing.
Hey man, I love that, man. I love your analogies, and I love how you talk about healing. And
Yes.
I talk about this a lot, and sometimes how people, you know, when you for something to get better, it has to get that scab, right? It's got to
Yes.
get a scab, and then it starts to itch when it starts to heal and going through that process. And if you don't
Yes.
let it take its course to make it better, what happens?
That's so true.
What
yeah.
happens? It won't get better.
It won't
you know?
never get better.
And you
Yeah.
peel it back, and you're all new skin, new attitude, and
Amen.
I love that. You know, your metaphors are fantastic, man. They really are. They're so deep. You know.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm glad to share it with anybody. My hopes is that somebody can see this, learn from it, the book. That's my hope, that it can help other people that are going through these kind of situations.
I'm looking forward to reading
Yeah.
that book. You know, and like I said, it's changed me just listening to just today. You know, just hearing this
Thank
today.
you so much.
And man, if someone's not able to listen to this and do any kind of self-introspect, then something's wrong with them. But man, you know, this takes a lot of courage. It does. And
Yeah, it does.
you know, I like how you said you talked about calling on your ancestors and reaching back in history. I think that's how you and I kind of led into our conversation about history, and I love how that ties into just everything that you're doing today. And if you could just talk about that phase, you know.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, 'cause the main thing with me is, you know, I don't. With this book, it's not like a religious book. Like my beliefs do not require anybody else to believe them. I don't care if you're Christian, Baptist, Buddhist, whatever your philosophy is. The way I see it, that's your personal decision. You know, I'm about love. When I read scriptures or the Bible, that's what I'm a person. I'm a person of love. That's what I see and experience, and that's the main reason I'm writing this book. Oh, okay.
And this is your formula that you came up with.
Yes. For time management, it's a time management part of the theory of balance, and what it is just how to make more of a use of your time, because everybody has weaknesses and everybody has strengths. So like I said, 7 days in a week, 24 hours a day, that's 168 hours. Most people are recommended to have 6 to 8 hours of sleep a week. So I took the middle number for myself. That's me. 7 hours is 49 hours. So I subtract 49 from 168, and I have 119 hours left waking to work with. Now, since right now, I just in the midst of having a stroke. I had a stroke 3 months ago, and people always ask me, how are you so positive? How do you have such a great attitude? But really, it's because of the theory of balance. I've been through so much of my life that I've been applying this theory to my life myself. I'm the first guinea pig.